Welcome to the SIWIKE Podcast, the only podcast that shares the stuff you didn't know you needed to know about jobs, careers, and life. The SIWIKE Podcast, the stuff I wish I knew earlier.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier podcast. We're here with our guest mentor, Mintikah English-Palmer and Minty. Thanks for joining us. And today we thought we'd talk about self-love, right? So it's an interesting topic. So I'd love for you, in kind of your own words, to talk about like what is it, and then maybe we'll pull out some dictionary definitions to get whatever the dictionary says about it.
Thank you, Luki. So to me, self-love just means like loving everything about yourself, like loving your flaws, loving your past, loving your mistakes, and just loving like being in your body. So just appreciating like everything about yourself is what self-love means to me.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. That's initially what I thought of when we were started talking about this, and I Googled it, and the definition was like an appreciation of one's own worth or value, which I think is appropriate. And then another one was proper regard for and attention to one's own happiness and well-being. But the third one, which I don't think is what we're talking about, was related to like narcissism, self-conceit, or vainness. So that's not the type of self-love that we're talking about. And obviously can go to that extreme, but I think we're talking about more just accepting you for who you are is really kind of the main crux of it. And part of it is also, I guess, one of the opposite side is being a people pleaser, where you care about other people more than yourself. So it's a little bit, it's kind of not being a people pleaser, and not that you're trying to be against others, but you're also like in love with yourself enough that you know, hey, I can do my own thing versus having to do what other people need and want. So yeah, if you want to kind of share a little bit of some of your early experiences and why you feel that self-love is so important.
So for me, like growing up, I didn't have a lot of self-love, I was like very like insecure about myself. I had a lot of acne growing up and I used to get bullied for that. So yeah, that's kind of where I started to appreciate self-love. Like I would say around probably like graduating high school, I started to really appreciate just the whole topic of self-love. I started to become confident in myself. I started to appreciate who I was. I started to just accept me for me, because like at the end of the day, this is the only body I'm in, and I just have to appreciate it and just make sure I'm healthy and I'm better myself, and that I'm just accepting me for me.
So can you describe some of like those earlier experiences where you didn't feel that self-love? Like what did that feel like to you? And what are some of the experiences? Well, probably not naming names, but what are some of the experiences so that I'm guessing a lot of the audience will relate to it. And then hopefully we'll contrast that with some of the learning and growing and how you got kind of out of that. So what are some of those experiences that come to mind?
Oh yeah, sure. So yeah, as I said, like I was like bullied for like having acne and stuff. So it didn't feel great. Like I used to just go home and kind of sometimes I would cry at home. It was like it wasn't a happy time for me. Like, and I think something I used to do when I was younger is I used to use like jokes and like making people laugh as a way to like suppress the feeling I was feeling inside. So like people would always like say I was a very funny and very like smiley person, but like inside I was very sad, and I didn't want people to kind of know that side of me. So I always just pushed like positivity, because I didn't want people to like know that I was actually pretty sad inside. And yeah, I'm just happy that like as I got older, I just started to appreciate myself and just really feel confident and just accept everything about myself. Like we all make mistakes, and like it's the past. Like we can't change it. So just, you know.
Yeah, so I'd like to get into some of that transition moments, because I think that's going to be important for listeners. But for my own story, so it probably happened, I guess, around the end of high school as well, where I was kind of like a little bit more nerdy, awkward, big glasses. I have a huge forehead for those that are watching us on video, and wasn't, I guess, the best well-dressed person, that sort of thing, right? So I had a lot of I guess not self-hatred, but a lot of concern for that. I don't know if I was bullied per se, But I think at a younger age, I was and actually got beat up in the schoolyard once a little bit, and that was the one and only event, but that kind of carried over until later on, and for me, it was a pretty challenging moment. And the funny thing is, it's also my name, right? So my name is Luki, right? So it's not Luke, it's Luki, right? And I always wanted like a normal name, right? So I wanted like a Kevin, Michael, Patrick, like one of those kind of normal English names. So that was another part for me. So probably not as bad as compared to you, but I guess what were some of the transition points for you? So you talked about just growing up and growing older, but like how did in your mindset, how did that change, and how did that kind of like those epiphany moments happen?
I guess when when I graduated like high school, I started to be surrounded around people that like actually appreciated me. So like people would say like, "Oh, you're so funny," and like people would really like compliment me on some of like my personality and some of the things I was good at. So like that really boosted my confidence, and that really made me feel like happy. And also like making my YouTube channel and seeing like the comments I would get and just the positive like likes and just the positivity out of that kind of boosted my confidence. And it really made me start loving myself and like looking at myself and being like, I'm me, like this is okay, like I'm me, and like I can appreciate myself, like there's nothing wrong, like everyone is someone, everyone is unique in their own way. So I started to just appreciate myself that way, and I started to just like appreciate and just like self-love, show myself self-love often.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, like my experience, it was a lot later until I kind of accepted myself. So I think I put on a good facade and good face up until even like after I got married, where I had like a good career and good whatever. I was fairly athletic in terms of I could do stuff, but I was never great. I was kind of okay. I was kind of good. So part of it is, I guess, the realization that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be amazing at everything. And I think as I was starting to get more into kind of the self-development space, that I realized, you know what, I can be dorky, I can be dumb, I can be not well dressed, and still people like me. So it's one where I don't know if I've seen the end of it. Where I don't know about you. Like, do you still feel it coming up once in a while, or have you kind of fully overcome it?
I think I've fully overcome it. Like it doesn't really bother me much anymore. I think I just learned to like take my flaws and kind of like make it into a positive, because like everyone is very unique and everyone has something about them that's different. So like I just take my flaws and my mistakes and anything that I see that's an insecurity, and I just make it into a positive.
Can you walk us through one of the earliest times that you remembered yourself doing that? And just kind of like, what was the process in your head? Like, what did someone say? Assuming you can share it, like, what did they say? And then how did you kind of flip it in your head?
Oh yeah. So I think one of the like earliest times was like when I came out with my first YouTube video. So I was really nervous at first because I didn't know what people were gonna think. Like it was something, it was just like people never saw me in that kind of light. So when I came out with it, people were just like messaging me and saying, "Oh my God, you're so funny. Like this is like hilarious. And like I've never seen you like this." And I felt so like relieved. It was like people were finally seeing a side of me that I just hid for so long, and like people were appreciating it. So ever since then, I've just been like being myself. I've just been appreciating myself, and I've just been being myself all like, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm struggling with is like, is there like no more doubt and no more kind of like judgment on yourself? Is that kind of completely gone? And because I need to learn some of that too.
I mean, there's always gonna be some doubt and there's always gonna be some judgment. But like I think now it's not always there. Like when I was younger, it was just always there. Like every day I was just judging myself, I was doubting myself. But like as you get older, I think when you get more confidence, like self-confidence, you just become more comfortable in your skin. And I don't have those like doubts anymore, like too often, but like it's always gonna be there, like here and there. But you just like you kind of think about it and you just like kind of move on and just like don't dwell too much on those doubts and those insecurities, because those insecurities and doubts you have other people don't see it. Like a lot of the insecurities you have about yourself, nobody else sees it. There's actually a video I made on YouTube where I talk about my insecurities, and a lot of people in the comments were like, they were saying like, these insecurities, like, I don't even see that in you. Like, I don't know how you view yourself like that. So a lot of the insecurities and things you feel bad about, like, other people don't see it. So don't worry about it.
That's amazing. One of the things that I remember doing before, so I actually, try to help increase the confidence of others. And one of the activities that I would do is if you cross your arms, right? So everyone has like a natural way that they cross it, right? And when they do it, it feels natural to you. But then if you put the other arm around and the other one there, it looks the same, but it feels so awkward when you're doing it. And if you want to even try it yourself, you can be like, oh my gosh, this feels so weird, versus the other way is like, this is super natural, right? And for some people, they can't even do it the other way because it's like, oh my gosh, this feels so weird. But I'll do it in front of a class, and it's like, which one is natural? And to your point, most people won't know. Most people can't tell. But meanwhile, inside, I'm going like, this is horrible. This is not the way it's supposed to be. So I think if a lot of people can really, first of all, observe and identify that it's just a thought in their head, right? A lot of it is just in their head, and it's not something that other people think. And if it is, well, it's up to them, right? It's not really on you for you to judge how they think. It's up to you to do yourself, and make sure you think of yourself as highly as you can, and other people can do whatever they want. So what are some of the suggestions that you would have for folks that are kind of struggling with this, who were kind of the young Minty who has struggled with kind of that not quite self-hate, but kind of the whatever the opposite of self-love is? What would you suggest for them? Because it sounds like your advice is kind of just grow up and get older, and then eventually it'll go away. But are there some things like more proactive or practical that you can suggest for them to do?
Yeah. So for me, I think something that was really big for me was like journaling, like really writing down, like waking up every morning and kind of writing down like things about like how you want your day to go. And also like at night, like just writing how your day went. So things like that really helped me in like appreciating myself, and also just kind of realizing that these things don't matter. Like these things, like things you worry about now won't matter in 5 years. Like don't dwell too much on it. It won't matter in 5 years. Like, and also like, I think working out has really helped me. Like any bad situation in my life, whenever I felt like sad or anything, I've always gone and worked out, and that those endorphins that get released, they really keep you happy and they make you feel motivated and happy about yourself. So I encourage people to work out and get into fitness. And also meditating is also another thing that I've done. Just like sitting and just kind of listening to like affirmations. I've done that. Like I do that for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And that has really helped me just appreciate myself and just really appreciate who I am.
That's amazing. And I would probably echo all of those, where journaling helps a lot. So there are all sorts of different journaling that you can do. Some of it is like kind of stream of consciousness, where you just kind of write down everything. So how was your day? How did everything go? I think your point about affirmations are great, because if you wake up saying that today is going to be an amazing day, it probably will be. If you wake up and say today is going to be a horrible day, it probably will be. So it's starting off on the right foot. Some people incorporate gratitude into their journaling too, right? What are you thankful for? What is going well? Because when you focus on the things that you appreciate, then I think the expression "what you appreciate appreciates," so it actually grows as well. One of the things that came to mind is a lot of folks, when they're in that sense of the opposite of self-love, there's a lot of fear involved. So fear of judgment and things like that. And one of the discussions I had recently with someone is that actually fear is imagined, right? But it's contrasted with what fear is supposed to help you with, is danger, right? Danger is real, right? But fear is just kind of an anticipation of danger. So to your point that, well, it's not going to matter in 5 years. A lot of these things that we think are kind of life or death situations really don't matter, right? So if you can kind of put it into that broader perspective and saying, okay, this fear is telling me something, is that something is important, because I care for it enough that I am fearful for it. but not so much that it's dangerous or it's going to kill me, right? Because if it truly is dangerous, then you want to be fearful of that stuff. So don't get rid of all your fear, but just be mindful of that. I think that working out, the physical activity is amazing, because oftentimes just getting active movement, right? It doesn't have to be a full-on whatever 60-minute sweat or something. Just be a walk around the block, right? To clear your head could be good enough. And yeah, meditation. I find actually meditation might be even the start to that, right? Whether you do it for like the formal, like kind of sit cross-legged on the floor and say like Om or whatever, but it could just be paying attention to all your thoughts, like all the stuff we talked about, like even the journaling and the working out and the paying attention to your fear. All of that is a form of meditation, right? You're just paying attention to the present moment. So I think all of those have tons of value, right? Are there any other suggestions or any things that you might want to share with folks in terms of, well, if they're not feeling self-love and they want to get on the self-love train, what are some other things that could be helpful for them?
I think something that's really helpful is just to be surrounded around people that love you. Like those people that love you really like love you for you, and they appreciate you for you. They don't see any flaws. They don't see any insecurities. They love you for you. So really just stay surrounded with those people, and they'll make you feel good. They'll make you feel loved. And also just realize that all of us suffer from like insecurities. Nobody is, I mean, some people are confident, but even confident people have insecurities. Like even people like celebrities, they have insecurities too. So we're all different, and just appreciate who you are.
I think that's amazing. And the expression, like, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, comes to mind, where if all your friends are confident and express kind of self-love for themselves, then chances are you will be. If all of them are insecure and all that, well, that's what you'll likely be as well. And one thing that I actually had a conversation recently with someone else is to audit your friends, right? Because it's interesting how for your significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever, you could break up with them and it's not a problem. But your bros and your girls, you can't do that. Like you have to stay with them. But if they're not adding value to your life, and if they're one of the people that brings you down, maybe you have to break up with them, or at the very least spend one less hour with them and then one more hour with one of those people who do bring you up. Because I do feel that surrounding yourself with people that you love, I think that's an amazing set of advice. So yeah, I think we provide a lot of good insights and wisdom for folks in order to help them get on the path to self-love. Are there any other things that you'd want to part with?
I wanted to say one more thing. Also, something that's really helped me is like watching really like positive podcasts on YouTube. Like just listening to those like podcasts that talk about like self-love and self-appreciation. Those can really help you with your self-love. They tell you like what to do for self-love and how to like show self-love. So definitely check those out.
Yeah, I think that follows the point about surrounding yourself by people that love you. It doesn't even have to be people you know. It's just people that you watch from afar or listen to from afar. So thanks, Minty, so much for sharing that information. I think it'll be very helpful for folks to listen in, and hopefully everyone will be practicing more self-love. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us on the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast. If you like the podcast, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you found this podcast. And if you can give us a review, that would be very appreciated. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn at Luki Danu, LUKIDANU, and the same on most social media platforms. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.